Hey guys, this is Gabrielle, and I'm here with Ben, better known by his stage name of Temple Step. Ben has been up to a lot of big things lately, but he wouldn't be anywhere without the love and support from all of his loyal friends, just like you. So today we want to talk with Ben about some of his favorite experiences with his fans and get to know a little more personal details, so that you, his fans, feel like you know their artist just a little bit better. So let's dive right on it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Where are you originally from? And where are you living now?
Well, firstly, thank you, Gabrielle, for just holding some space and creating this fantastic interview. So I'm 46 and I'm originally from Melbourne, Australia. And I grew up in Melbourne, Australia. I was originally born in Adelaide. So I am a real Australian. Absolutely.
Through and through. What are some of your favorite experiences that you've had in your career thus far?
Well, definitely performing. I mean, as an artist and as a musician, there's nothing really more exciting than performing, particularly in front of large audiences. But it's not only large audiences that really get me very excited. It's often about the intimacy and the feeling of connectivity with the audience that really leaves me having a sense that my purpose as an artist has somehow occurred or somehow kind of been manifested. And that purpose really is around, a sense of communal unification that can occur on a dance floor when people are moving, when people are dancing, when people are laughing and celebrating together, they can really come together as one. And so that really for me is like a tick, yep, done. So definitely
Yeah,
performing at
absolutely.
festivals like Bali Spirit Festival when I headlined there, other festivals like Embodiment Festival in Guatemala, and certain other smaller events such as Ecstatic Dances, which are more like workshop style events, but have an incredibly intimate relationship between the music and the dancing. So that's my preference and what I get the most out of performing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it's incredible being able to experience the connection with the audience and really feel that energy coming from those performances.
Absolutely. It's
So tell
sometimes
us,
it's sometimes it's like waves. You notice that like
yeah,
the energy starts to rise and rise and rise as you build the music, and there's these certain like peak moments that you just come off the stage going, "Whoa, did that really even happen?" It's
yeah,
quite incredible.
yeah, it sounds like it. Um, so tell us about some of your new releases. I know you had one that came out back in September. Could you tell us a little more about that one?
Sure. Just give me a second. I'm just going to bring up my Spotify.
Sure.
I should have got that prepared earlier. That's okay. Yeah, look, there's been a lot of new releases lately. A lot of the new releases I've been working with have been focused more around collaborations with people. And the reason for that is I love collaborating with different musicians and people from around the world that bring more of element of musical, like melodic and like vocalists and instrumentalists. And the reason I like to collaborate with these kinds of people and musicians is because I love it because it makes the music more full. Myself as a producer, as a beat programmer, as a bass line creator, an audio engineer, needs to have sounds such as vocals and melodies and hooks and things like that in the music to really fill it out so that it becomes much more of a song than just another electronic dance track. And so for me, a lot of the releases that I've been doing have been collaborations. Some of the notable ones recently have been Unity Prayer with some artists from the UK called Nalini Blossom and Charlie Roscoe, Tribal Swagger with a hip hop artist from the USA, Heaven on Earth, which is a remix that I did for a fantastic vocalist in the States called Ruby Chase. And what about some of the others? Some of the others have been like remixes that people have done for me and that I've done for other people, such as remixes like Kemanjar by Dayadova, who's a very popular artist here in Australia. So yeah, a lot of collaborations and noticing that that's really making a beautiful quality to the nature of the music.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like having a few different hands in the pot can definitely bring a lot of fullness to the sound as well.
Absolutely, and it can keep the music always like offering like a new vibration when it's the same artist doing the same kind of song over and over and over. After a while, it can kind of become like a meal that you just keep eating, and after a while, it kind of loses its specialty. So that's a big part
Yeah.
of the reason I like to bring in different spices and different herbs through the collaboration, so that I'm always providing my fans something new and different. And also, I really love diversity. I love providing, different type of beat structures, different types of tempos, different kind of feels, all with that same temple set aesthetic, but something unique every time I bring out a new track. People are like, wow, I didn't expect that from Ben. That's really cool. I'm always really engaged with his music because it's always unique.
Yeah.
Unique.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but what was your favorite thing about creating this latest track?
This latest track, the Unity Prayer, I think the main thing I really liked about it was the intention. For me, music is like it has like it's kind of like a conduit, or it's like music without intention is kind of like, it's kind of boring, or it's just kind of like it doesn't really kind of give the listener anything else than just some form of sonic kind of like wash over their ears, right? But the
Yeah.
Unity Prayer is very much linked to what's going on in the planet at the moment with some of the major wars that are going on in Russia, in the Middle East. And it is really a call for humanity to come together in unity. And that being such a strong intention in music, when I'm writing the music, I really feel like the sounds that I'm adding to that is reinforcing that intention. So for me, that's a really important part of music, is that music can be a conduit for communication and intention. And I notice that people use that music to dance to release, how they're feeling. Maybe they're feeling very stressed about the wars that are going on in the world at the moment. They can put this music on, they can close their eyes, they can dance, and they can feel connected to it. And I think that's also a part of creating peace on the planet, in a way, is providing art for better people to better feel better. When they feel better, they raise their vibration. The more people feel better, the more that the world gets better. So that's kind of my kind
Yeah,
of part to play for humanity.
absolutely. Would you say this is one of your favorite collaborations you've done, or is there another one that you kind of hold closer to your heart?
Look, I'd say that they're all very special. I do notice that some of them just come out better than others, and it's while it's not like the absolute top favorite collaboration that I've ever done, I could certainly note a few more of those if you'd like me to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear about them.
So, undoubtedly, the most notable collaboration I've ever done is with a fantastic group from Europe called Hang Massive. I'm not sure if you know the handpan. It's a beautiful musical instrument. It looks like a UFO,
The
and it's
kind of
played.
dome
Yeah,
one here.
that's it. So it's a beautiful instrument, and it's played very softly but very rhythmically. But it's also able to be able to provide a real groove in its approach because it's percussive, but it's also melodic as well, and it has a beautiful sound to it. So by far the most notable collaboration I've ever done is Warmth of the Sun's Rays, my Bass Love remix. And the reason for that is I just felt like the production elements that I brought to it, the beats, the bass, the vocals, really merged with their handpan melodies in a very, very powerful way. And I noticed that my fan base really responded to that. I mean, it's got like literally double, nearly three times the amount of plays on Spotify than any other track. It's also been used around the world with different wellness facilitators, such as Dr. Joe Dispenza, on his new album to be able to create a background to his meditation guidance. So we're really kind of bringing a new kind of element into wellness music, where wellness music doesn't all have to be meditative. It can also be groovy, and it can
Yeah.
be melodic, and it can be emotional, and people can move in their meditations as well as sitting still in stillness. So it's really providing an incredible kind of connection between the wellness music industry and the music industry. And I'm really noticing it's having a great response from both the fans and wellness facilitators.
Yeah, awesome. I completely agree that movement is also a big part of wellness. So I think it's awesome that you're bringing a different element to, the way that people meditate.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a real honor to be able to collaborate with such incredible musicians and make such great music. I remember when I was writing, I was like, this is going to be a good one. Sometimes you can just
Yeah.
feel them.
You
They're
just
just
got that
like,
buzz. Yeah.
you get that buzz. You're like, this is going to be something special, and then it happens, and then it gets released, and you're like, oh, it is. Okay, right. My intuition was
Yeah.
correct. But, like most art, it's best to always just finish tracks anyway. Not
Yeah.
everything everyone's going to produce is going to be the top shelf. And if you put that pressure on the creative process, it actually stifles you and stops you from creating art. So I have this real philosophy of just keep expressing, just keep letting go, just keep writing music, and some things are going to work out better than others, and allow that to be as they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think, you know, being able to put something out allows you to try a lot of different things and figure out what works best for you and what works for your fans. And, people can connect with different songs for different reasons. And that's, an awesome reason to kind of switch it up as well.
Absolutely. That's also the reasons of writing and enjoying writing different genres or having different tracks with different feelings. Some are more intense, some are more happy, some are sad, some are celebrationary. And when you're performing all of these songs back to back, the audience can really move through all of the emotions as a human. One moment they're feeling intense, one moment they're celebrating, one moment they're feeling sad, another moment they're feeling happy. They come out of it just completely expanded.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Do you have any plans for what's coming next? New singles, tours, anything that you're really excited about?
I do. I've actually got three tours about to embark starting next week.
Oh,
First
awesome.
tour is off to New Zealand, heading over to Resolution Festival, which is a drug and alcohol free festival put on by the New Zealand Spirit Festival organization team. And it's my first time to New Zealand, so I'm very excited to be going and connecting to that community and connect into some of the Maori cultures there because I just love cultural
Their
anything
immersion of culture
multicultural. I
is
love it.
incredible. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's going
So
to be
that's
really,
really
really
exciting.
special.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I hope to be able to record some haka vocals and maybe do like a collaboration with some of the artists over there that really brings that really kind of tribal Maori sound.
Certainly. And what are some of the other tours that you've got coming up? You had mentioned two others.
I have, yes. So, um, living in Australia, the east coast of Australia is always, where the majority of my fans are. Um, Particularly around the Byron Bay area and Gold Coast, is the majority of my fan base. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to do a tour of Sydney, Gold Coast, Byron. I'm also performing at a couple of major festivals, such as the Elements Festival, which is occurring in Brisbane, and doing some events myself in Byron Bay, plus some other ecstatic dance workshops along the pathway.
That sounds fantastic. What would you say makes the Australian festival special to you?
Well, I think it's mainly because I know a lot of people there, and
Yeah.
it's incredible to go back to a festival and have people come up to you and say, that you haven't seen for a very long time. I've lived in the Byron Bay region. I've lived up in Brisbane before, and now I don't live there anymore. But when I go back there, people come back and they say, "We've been listening to your music. We're so excited that you're playing, and we really appreciate what you're doing for." Australian music culture. You're bringing this fresh, new, multicultural, multi-genre sound, and so it's really about actually just connecting back to fans, really, and that's obviously quite big because I'm an Australian myself. But the real thing I wanted to share today was actually the third tour, which is the biggest thing that I've got currently on my radar. So I've been basically planning a tour for 3 months. I'm actually going to be doing three tours in the next year and a half of the USA. Now, USA by far is the largest fan base for Temple Step Project music. Literally nearly 3 or 4 times the amount of fan bases, if you look at the stats on Spotify and SoundCloud, is in the USA. And that's got a lot to do with the genre of music that I write, multicultural music that has like a bass music, hip hop, kind of trap kind of vibe to it. And
Yeah.
that genre is really large in the States. And so I've been focusing my efforts in the last couple of months getting a visa, which will be coming through in the next couple of weeks. And my tour starts in April. And I'm going to be, at the moment, I've probably got about 20 or 30 shows booked. It'll probably end up being around 30 to 40 maybe 50 by the time it's finished, and then includes some really great festivals such as Austin, Texas Eclipse Festival and High Vibe Festival, which is in California, run by High Vibe Records. So there'll be also a lot of new events that'll be popping up in the tour radar, as I've just been signed to one of my industry's most favorite booking rosters called Reciprocity Music. And that is basically going to ensure that I'm going to be having some very high caliber events organized for me while I'm there, to really maximize the amount of coverage and exposure that I'll have on the US tour.
That sounds incredible. Congratulations. I'm very excited to see how you grow in the US as an American who's now living in Australia. It's definitely interesting watching, other artists grow and the differences between the American and the Australian culture and how they kind of come together. Because there's a lot of similarities, but quite a few differences as well. But I think it's really awesome to be able to expand on that.
Absolutely. It feels great to get off my own shore, and it feels great to be able to go to the land where the majority of my fans come from. And it's a very exciting thing to, yeah, bring my music. I have a lot of people already messaging me on social media saying, "We so excited you're coming. Been listening to your music for years. Can't wait to be at the festival, up the front, dancing to you when you're playing."
Yeah, that's going to be an incredible experience. Let's bring it back home a little bit more. Could you tell us a little bit about your family? Do you have any siblings, and how did they, play a part in your becoming a musician? Were they supportive or musicians themselves?
Yeah, so I've grown up in a family, a partner, a child. My boy now is 20 years old though.
Yeah,
And so yeah, no, look, my family really played a huge part in my creativity. One of the major ways was really just making sure that I had to stay at home and focus on music. It would have
yeah,
been very easy for me to become a touring music producer and DJ. But one of the assets of being a father is that you really need to care for your family, particularly on a financial level. And making sure that that occurred meant that I had a lot of time in the studio. I've also been a freelance music producer most of my life. So in between working as a freelance, I was also able to focus on my music, and that kept me really grounded. And I'm really grateful for that, because if it wasn't for my family, I don't think I would have written as much music as I would have been.
yeah, absolutely. When did you start creating music? Does that connect back to your childhood?
So my childhood, absolutely, yeah. I started dancing when I was probably about 8, and like my favorite thing to do was just like put a Walkman on and like dance to like Michael Jackson, and like really just connecting with my body. And I think I really connected to the power of music very early when I started learning the drums and learning about beats and learning about rhythm, and really felt this incredible sense of liberation of power through just smacking the hell out of a drum kit as a young boy. A lot of frustration, challenges around fitting in socially and things like that. To be able to have a release point where you can actually make a lot of sound and a lot of power in the sound really brought a lot of confidence. So yeah, I grew up playing in metal bands and hip hop bands and lots of different genres through playing drum kit. And then that grew into kind of awakening into the rave music scene, and learning about the DJing and the electronic music, and then getting straight away into that. And then that became more like a freelance music producer, and then world music. And then that's kind of where it kind of landed up now, as far as being the artist called Temple Step, and the kind of position that I am in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like it really made you a very well-rounded person, just to have all those experiences and be able to start so young and connect so deeply with music.
Absolutely. I think that it's really important for people to have a passion and a purpose to be able to put their energy into. Otherwise, it can feel like they're a bit lost, or they just don't know kind of what they're here to do and why they're here to do it. And I think music came along and just tapped me on the shoulder at a very early age and said, "You be good at this, you'll find a lot of enjoyment, you'll make a lot of people happy." And that for me brings happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you recall the first album you ever bought?
Ooh, well, back in the days, we didn't buy albums. We bought cassettes, and they were
Okay,
like
first
compilation.
cassette.
Absolutely, yeah. We used to buy compilation cassettes from the local music store, which would be like hits of 1987, this kind of thing, like classic cassettes, and you'd load them in and you'd be like $20. I think that was the first one, Hits of 1987, $20, probably the first like pocket money that I ever spent. You know, put it in your Walkman, walk home from the music store, and suddenly you've got this whole world in your ears. And it's, it's not exactly like what you want, but you learn to find what you want within what you're given, and back in those days, there
Yeah.
was no internet, there was no like everything accessible all the time. All you had was the local store with a selection of cassettes. And, that's why I would buy a compilation, because it would be like, I don't know whether I want to buy a whole album from someone. I've only got a small amount of money. Let's just buy a compilation, hits of
Yeah.
1987, and then I'll find something on that, and then that'll direct me more towards artists that I really appreciate.
Did you have a song on there or an artist that jumped out at you?
Yeah. Men Without Hats, Safety Dance was a very early
Yes,
track.
yes. I
With the
I'm
safety
familiar with
dance,
it.
with the
It
safety
comes with
dance.
the
Yep. You can
a
dance if
whole
you want
dance move.
to, and it ain't no friend of
Yes.
mine. That was one of my first tracks that really just got me, and I think that was something about this kind of communication of freedom of expression. You can dance if you want to, like this kind of language that was brought about. It was kind of this like silliness and this like joy in like expression, and that's okay. And that was a really important message for me from other messages that I was receiving growing up, which was like, being bullied or being, like repressed in expression. That was a really like transformational sound for me to hear that. And plus the music was just really, really cool. So yeah, definitely Safety Dance by Men Without Hats.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds, you know, I think that's a song that I also hold very close to my heart as well. Growing up, it was something that I heard in the car quite frequently. And I think the silliness has a lot to do with it, just the freedom of expression to, have fun with it and enjoy your time and move.
Exactly. That's great. Love it.
Let's see. So we are winding down a little bit here. What is something that most people don't know about you?
Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I also have a love of cooking.
Okay. What is your favorite
It's
dish?
I just love a really traditional lamb roast.
Okay.
I'm There's the traditionalist in me, the father in me that just wants to just bring the roast to the family table and just like enjoy, beautiful potatoes, pumpkins, lamb or chicken, but just done in a really beautiful way. I love cooking because in some ways it does feel similar to music, as far as it's something for others, and it's about providing for others and providing something that's an artistic expression that's also nourishing. And so for me, music and cooking go together. And I must say, while I'm not like the most amazing cook, I do love it, and I'm really always wanting to learn more. And that's a similar approach that I have to music, is that I'm always learning, always watching, new tutorials, importing new software to look at ways that I can improve my sonic palette, the quality of what it is that I'm outputting. And it's always a learning process. You never become someone that knows everything, which is what I love about the journey. It's you're always having to stay inspired by learning new things.
Certainly. And I think, you can taste passion, you can hear passion. And I think that's, it definitely goes hand in hand, both cooking and music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you could give your fans one piece of advice just for life, career, anything, what would it be?
Find what you're passionate about. Make what you're passionate about occur in a really small way. Note the effect that your passion about what you're passionate about has on other people. Note that you can make a change to one, two, or three, or four, or many people through believing in what you do. Make that change not only to a small amount of people, but a large amount of people, so that when you die at the end of your life, people look back and they say, wow, he made us happy. He made us
You left
sad.
something special.
He made us move. He made us transform. He made us do something that I'm so grateful for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So really, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's something that, I don't think people take as many moments as they should to stop and kind of be grateful for the things that they've been offered in life. So that I think that's a really wonderful sentiment to leave with your fans. All
Awesome.
right. Well, Ben, that is all the time that we have for today. So I want to thank you for your time to talk with me and with the fan base. I also want to thank everybody from the Festival Voice and all of our readers and watchers. Um, Neither Temple Step nor the Festival Voice would be where we are without your guys' support. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Stay tuned for more exclusive interviews and content brought to you by the Festival Voice, and keep an eye out for all of you US listeners and watchers for Temple Steps tour.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for the fantastic interview today, Gabrielle.
Of course, thank you.